Yeah, man. Welcome to another episode of Conversations, really. That's what we are about.
Yeah.
We have not named this, but it's just we want to take time, out of busy schedules just to sit down and be able to converse, about the developments within our space, up Ephondweni, within the whole South Africa as well. Anything that, tickles our fancy. And that's what we're here to do. Break down and just, share our opinions about everything that's happening. The name is Yakim. I'm with the gatekeeper.
So my name has changed. What's in a name anyway? A rose by any other name would still smell as sweet.
Yes.
What's in a gate? It's whatever, really. How you doing?
I didn't know that she's into welding, but now I know. Poetic soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. How are you?
I'm proper. I'm excited. Yes. As I keep saying, Konalendo, engathi just, under the layer of my skin, and in a positive way. So I'm just always excited and trying to protect my space energetically because when you feel that way, when you feel something is happening, you don't want to mess with your space. Yes. You want to make sure you surround yourself with positive energies. You're always excited. You're always raring to go. So
I think the year in itself, 2023, feels different, feels light. It's welcoming.
Yeah.
I love just the atmosphere that this year has, like in a short space of time, you can really feel also from creative
shifts.
People are just creating things. Because normally I know as South Africans, 2020 CCT. 2023
I'm not every year.
2023.
I call it 20 breaking free.
Yes.
I say 20 breaking free. I say 20 fetch your dreams. 20 climb a tree. Yeah, that's what it is. No, I'm excited. I don't want to. There's nothing as beautiful as a beginning. New things coming in. Once kutiwe yikawa, you reset your mind so that you know that so you begin again. Do you know what I'm saying? So when you get to the end of the year, you reset your mind. You reset your energy as well, so that you can move through. And in the midst of things beginning, there's a lot of hope. Yes. There's a sense of we are here. We are ready to do it. With disappointments is our figure, but the hope in the beginning, that sustains our energy through and through. Speaking of beginnings, Gqeberha, the empire.
Oh man, it was a very ceremonial, what you call this week that we just came from. And I think just the energy in the city, and seeing Indawas Fananolunga, for an example, screening, like the first episode, calling patrons to come through. Umonde, Motherwell came through also. They did the same thing, was beautiful. They had everything, a big screen outside, and people were there. It looked good. I love that. And I feel it's gonna be beautiful. It's a great stepping stone for the city and the province at large.
And I mean, I'm not an avid TV watcher, but I also caught a few glimpses there, here and there. Our director is gonna say glimpse. Okay. Funny. How did you glimpse it? But hey, I caught a few of the episodes, and I felt that the storyline is something that's going to pick up really nicely.
Okay.
It is something that represents, the spaces hlala kuso. We might have mhlambi low cry here and there, type vibe. But hey, listen, silapha ngoku iqalile le way masizameni sihambe nayo. It's really exciting for me. I've committed, as much as I work on TV, I get home, I'm really tired. I've committed to switching it on so that I take 5 to 9 days, switch on the TV. Even if the TP like by 9:15. Oksala iyadlala so ndibaliwe nanini because we need for the numbers to stay up.
I'm a fan of you. Like the way I'm like a TV, me and TV are just something else. But then when there is talent, we see how they did it. incorporating some of our talent
hey, man.
as acting, theater is concerned. Because these are people that we've known and seen in the space for a minute, and they've been doing it. So and you like, it makes sense because these people have been in this space for a minute. So it's gonna be great. And I think above everything else, when the story develops to a second season and whatnot, and we have writers from Kwesi Space say to incorporate it, and then the story is brought even closer to home. You know, Londo Leyo is we are able to control the narrative because we've been watching TV ever since I can remember. You know, and you know how Xhosa people in general.
Oh, I can look. I have been,
you know.
In most of these telenovelas, from Home Affairs, where we are drunkards, we come from poor families, you know, isn't so I completely, you
know, so it's really dope when you are in control of the narrative.
I love that as well.
Most of the time, our stories are always told by other forces and other parties. And I think in the democratic South Africa, it sets up the platform for us to be able to tell our own stories.
Yes, sir.
Because we understand who we are better. I
think that for me, like us being in control is king, because we I think you shared that article with us on how Xhosa characters are portrayed in various telenovelas, and I think I'm going to ask you just to share with everybody else what a snippet from it. But what's really important for me, even with us doing these conversations now, having taken the decision that we move like this, we like how it felt, and therefore let's do it, is that it results in us getting to archive our stories. And most of the time, archiving of stories is laid on an outside party for them to collect information on you and collect it and collate it, put it together for abanye abantu to reference to. But in these instances where we start thinking, let's podcast, let's archive our thoughts, let's record our movements and whatnot, we start saying we're taking the power to archive our story from our own voices. And I think that's what productions like Gqeberha, The Empire, coming to Nelson Mandela Bay are all about. It might be that the director is not from Nelson Mandela Bay currently. It might be that the executive producers are not, but at the end of the day, this tool is here for us to manipulate, for us to use, so that eventually we have the power to control the narrative. I think that's what it's about.
And above everything else is because sometimes you have ideas, but you don't have resources.
Yes, sir.
So when things like Gqeberha, The Empire, comes into the fore, the people who are gifted in this line of work should raise their hands and say, I can contribute positively, because you find many people, they will post their status online, but it will be dope if they use our music. But you can find out itini production behind our
all of that. Yes. How do I access
the company? And then they will always on their website have an email to say, look, this is what I have, and this is what I'm bringing on the table. You know, because yes, we have feelings. I have a feeling that Knuckle City, had you had Unanseka or Ustombi Mavi, for an example, you know, it would bring the story home. Here you have Imvumige's needs. We understand some are national, some are legends in the Eastern Cape, where only they did not break it to national. But when you hear it like Uchacha again, you could hear an MXO Uchacha. You could hear a Gino Uchacha. You understand? It brought the story home. So I think, it's there are many positive spin-offs that are going to come through what you call this Gqeberha, The Empire. But you spoke about the article. There's an article written by a brother called Ulukanyo Makenyane, So it's titled The Portrayal of Xhosa Characters in South African Telenovela The Queen. So he was specific. As much as when we look, kuyo yonke landscape is telenovela.
The similarities.
Yeah,
the similarities.
Yeah. So I'll just read a snippet. It quoting Lukhanyo Makenyane Uti. Although it is produced in the democratic South Africa, the manner in which Xhosa characters are portrayed in the telenovela resembles how African characters were portrayed during apartheid in South African films. The term Xhosa characters refers to characters who play a role of a Xhosa person in the telenovela. According to Motsa Chebe in 2018, during apartheid, black characters were demeaned, exploited, and used as sexual objects, creating negative stereotypes about them. Close quote. The manner in which Xhosa characters are portrayed in South African telenovela The Queen can create negative stereotypes about amaXhosa.
Yes, sir.
As telenovelas are stories told on television, they add to the voice that control public opinion. Chomsky, 1988. According to Slade and Beckenham, 2005, as well as Askandari, 2017, telenovelas form a part of media that creates social reality. Rincon, so he's quoting different people. Rincon, 2017. It's
an academic paper, this one.
Yes. 2017 adds that they transmit popular culture through stories and characters, shaping identities in the process. Some of Xhosa female characters in the telenovela are portrayed in the same manner as black female characters during apartheid. They are portrayed as promiscuous. Vuyiswa was impregnated by Bakang, who happened to be the son of her ex and later husband, Jerry Make. That's where it ends. So Unanseka is hammering on the Queen.
On the Queen, yes.
Yes, he's hammering on the Queen. Gqeberha will replace her.
The Queen. Gqeberha time slot, if I'm not mistaken. The time slot of the Queen, I think, was 9 o'clock.
The guy knew when he wrote it.
Yeah.
You know, so he also had a he also had a table, trying to show abantu abathile. Xhosa characters will always play secondary roles, poor, middle class and low class citizens. So he goes on with it. They are portrayed as gold diggers. They marry or date the rich. They are confused. Marry, date young or old males and females. All of this, they're doing it in the name of money.
Yes. As I said, concept you must just watch one of these telenovelas, whichever one, it's predominantly Sesotho. But when a Xhosa girl steps in,
yes,
ustepisha in, like yavakala ba, fikile Xhosa girl, and fika se scandal. It's a Xhosa girl that caused a lot of scandals. Do you know what I mean? So they always bring that touch of drama into the movement of a script. I think also if you catch in dimensional scandal,
Home Affairs,
Uvuyo,
who's I think is one of the protagonists on the show. They came from a poor background.
Yes.
Mother is a drunkard. She even bans the shack or whatnot.
Yes.
It's a very messy situation.
Umamfundisi generations, who was really after money and control and power. So there's always those things. If you check with the Queen, in as far as I watched the Queen, there was that character, Walasisi Uyu domestic worker, Petronella.
Yes.
Petronella is always loud, is very curious when it comes to money situations. You had the character, what's this guy who was gay as well? Schumacher.
Yes, he calls Petronella, the award winner, he calls it a gossip monger.
That's exactly what Schumacher
Schumacher, which is Lumko and Buntu. identity crisis from lunko meaning wisdom to using a foreign name shumak and culture, ubuntu meaning ubuntu but is savage, uncultured and uncivilized. So it doesn't have a great thing to, but this is what he's observing. And I don't know what informs that. Is it a matter of tribalism, or Eastern Cape as a province is very far and removed from the rest of South Africa, that we don't know what's going on there? Like how America reports on Africa.
Yes.
You'll have these kids with kwashiorkor, big stomach, big heads,
flies around
all
the mouth.
over.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there is an element of tribalism. Now, that's my opinion when it comes to Xhosa and what we regard as Xhosa pride.
Yes.
There is a notion, and because it's a number of factors that drive a certain point across. But you know that if you speak to any ordinary person, I couldn't ask anyone for direction because they don't respond to Xhosa. Do you know what I'm saying? So it seems as though there's an attitude towards Xhosa. And if you check productions as Pume KZN, they very much, in as much as it's about drama and sensationalism, you will find that they showcase a lot of Zulu culture.
Yes.
They're cool, they've got that power within them. So I find that because there wasn't a telenovela that is just dedicated to Xhosa, I think there was Ikazi, which was, I think, 13 episodes, but it had a number of seasons. Or a number of the top-notch Xhosa actors, basically. And ibimnandi, but now it'll be based on Obobu Kopololo, a rich family, the matriarch in the family, Ndoni, Gqeberha pa and whatnot. It was exciting and everything. But zifika pa na pa, azizi, ukonba, like KZN, KZN, and you feel it, but uzalo, isbaya, inkaba. Like zininzi uyazibala. Yes, they're taking up space right now, and I think bane authority to speak on who they are. But us as the Xhosa people, we haven't had that opportunity, and this is the first time now. So tribalism will play a role. In fact, in terms of the putting together of this article, you kind of want to protect the identity of people. So maybe there is an element of that, and we must admit it. But we must also admit that we haven't been in a position of power to be able to tell our stories the way that we want to. Because wherever we go, in particular when we go to Joburg, you realize that you have to conduct yourself a certain way. You have to tswikila a bit away from ubuXhosa bakho so that you can blend in and be part of the system. And nezinto ezithethwayo ngamaXhosa zincede, because you know how memes are going around about Xhosa chicks.
Yes.
So amadoda sebhaya nje nanje. So there's all those things that are already going around.
We fight. We're in a space where we fight about racism. Recent case of abantu abamhlophe wanting to drown a young boy somewhere in those towns in Afrikaans names, and we speak strongly against that. And seemingly it is the only time as South Africans, particularly Black South Africans, where we are able to stand and be united and speak with one voice, is when we fight white racism.
Yes.
Or white discrimination. I think discrimination would be a more fitting word. But then when we discriminate amongst each other as Black people, this one is Shangaan. I was shocked just to hear how, Shangans and Gauteng and these other spaces.
I actually just learned from my Uber driver that Shangaan is not really a celebrated term. They prefer more to be called Batsonga.
Batsonga, okay.
Yes, I'm not sure if that's how it goes, but our conversation went like that, to say Shangaan is almost like nigger.
Oh, yeah.
The Tsonga people then came to really just accept it, but it's not something they're proud of, to be called Shangaan.
Kafir. Yeah, well, and then like you thinking that like years later, with democratic South Africa, we should be able to rally together. Because we fought together. I mean, come on.
It's going to take us a while. We've been divided.
Yes. Bantu stands and whatnot.
I mean, in Gauteng, where I used to live at Davidton, who area talk Semashanganen, Semaswatin, Semaxhoseni, Ebesutwini. There's things that even here in PE, you've got an area called Ebesutwini. So we were divided along tribal lines beyond being divided along
so
the racial lines.
The 1992, I'll call it a civil war thing that happened. I think so it makes sense because because you know Ndoba, this is where they get transportation to and from work. So if you Vale Landau, you get everyone. It's unfortunate. We shouldn't be doing that. I think we should be able to, to lead and leave in Ansika level. But, going back to Gqeberha, using his names as Gamtlenge, I think it's one of the popular surnames in the Eastern Cape.
The doctor, right?
Yes. The doctor, I think there was
politically.
Was this lawyer? You go up as King Williamstown.
Yes.
I think it's the son or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's even more iconic that to shoot for the Mxenge family.
In one of their houses. I got that.
I was like, so claps in this place.
Linkages.
Yeah, it's dope. It's beautiful because it also cements, people who have been very instrumental because as Black people, whatever you do as a person, so when you are successful in what you do, you are giving me strength.
Yeah.
And you are giving me an opportunity to dream. And be like, but Poetic Soul was able to pull through Umiyalezo. Yeah, then I can be able to think of something different, but that is inspired by the level and the quality of Umiyalezo. So that is why whatever we do, whenever now you're discouraged, you would love to quit, don't quit. Because when you quit, there's other 10 people
understandably so
that they draw strength from you. That's the blessing and the curse of being a creative, a Black creative in the modern South Africa, But then, as we move, what we are facing, because there's Real Housewives of Gqeberha still coming, with Gqeberha the Empire. So now it's gonna create a Gqeberha or the Eastern Cape I knew, because now you'll have people who are based at home who are entering what we call the celebrity culture. The celebrity culture has its pros and its cons, because now you are a brand, you are a name, you are seen on television.
You're also a target in a way. Hey?
Yeah, one year a target. Also, and the second, you are able to use your name, your identity, or your image to promote a certain product and whatnot, which means income or a revenue stream.
Ilizwi lakho.
We're not always going to be shipping talent to come here and speak to us about the environment, but I understand.
Exactly.
So it's a very interesting phase that we are entering into.
And Lisa, for me, in a way, because I mean, remember once you noted how I performed and I left, or I went outside. You thought I was leaving. It's the reality of it is that it's daunting to stand in front of people and do what you do, and know that by the time you step down, 100 of them are going to know who you are or a part of who you are, and you don't know none of them by name. It's a scary reality because expectations rise with more people seeing you in certain spaces or seeing you in a certain way. And when people only know one side of you that is enhanced by the media as well, it's scary that you can't, hold up to the character they paint of you because everything that you are in people's eyes is perception.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying? And that's really scary. So, Lando of saying, I wonder with the celebrity culture that's going to pop up as a result of a Real Housewives of, as a result of or Gqeberha, the empire, are we able to withstand it? Because remember now, your name belongs to other people. Especially when you're actor, you stop being Yakim and you become the character you portray. The empire, right? And people start knowing who you are, and they can say whatever they want to say about you.
And you're thinking that experiences zota tu pochan would have come in handy now.
Yeah.
Mama, mhlenkonye would come in handy now. Because there was a time where it was just the few of them.
I just recalled now the other day, how sad I felt that Gqeberha, the empire, and Hlehla is not here.
Hey, man.
I was like,
she was going to kill it.
It was a moment I held on to, like, Hlehla, I know you would have loved this, even if she was not going to act in it, but just her being around to experience that coming to our city would have been lovely.
And if it was our actor, tell us Ketel.
Listen.
And ngoku iphinde i-actelwe kaslak.
Yes.
Actelwe kaslak.
I know she would have been very happy.
It was just gonna be something else. I don't know how you prepare. Is there a way where you can prepare someone for
celebrity
stardom?
I have no clue.
Or attention.
Yeah, I have no clue because that influences a lot of how we react to situation is also our backgrounds, how we are raised, and what we were dreaming about when we were younger, and then how do you react? I don't know if you can really prepare a person for umzekelo, a young girl coming out to say, I was raped by Yakim. How are you prepared for that? Because you go to bed one night, you wake up the next morning, you're trending.
And the rape one, I'm scared of that one. Mm-hmm. I'm scared of the rape.
I'm concerned.
I'm scared of that because, one, as a man living in South Africa, the stats the rape are crazy. Mm-hmm. Women in South Africa are being raped left, right, and center. Situations as zimbi. It's something that you cannot condone. It's something that we must speak strongly about it, strongly against it. Mm-hmm. But as a man, I have a fear of one day waking up next to someone and we disagree about something and they say, I have raped them. Mm-hmm. Because there is no other way I can prove that I did not rape you when we had sex. Mm-hmm. We came through, we had sex, but when in the morning you realize, fuck, we are came, don, is out, or there's money you want that I'm not able to give.
Is that not similar to the mishmash situation?
Yeah, I think it's close.
The shoes.
So the backstory, seeing this, there's a corner that's trending, popular, and everyone is speaking against this lady. So what happened here was, it happens back Alwal North, Stake Split. Mm-hmm. So Geliswa updates, ukuba uyoyika yena. Ucela umntu so that abe nofunda campuses ezolitsha because there's a guy called Mishmash ebi nice ukufika kwaye apha kuye. He was a darling, was a sweetheart, but as soon as this guy slept with her, this guy changed. Ibe yazi ukuba ngabana she recently lost her parents, so vulnerable. Uyaziforsa and ufuna sex without protection. And she thinks she is pregnant of umdan walomfan. So it's that halabaloo and about it. So this guy, I think 2 hours later, because of load shedding, he then begins to, respond and puts up
inbox messages.
Yes, the guy was there with a friend of Yena, and then girl suggested that they stay over, because it's quite a distance between Alwal North and Stikspring. You can still drive. It's like 18 you can still drive, but and then they do this thing. So now uthi girl umngena Islam. Uthi ufuna Islam. Ubuze eziphi Islam. Hayi noba ziphakwe nansi ku sport bags. Like I wasn't carrying the sport bag and whatnot. What shoes are you talking about? Why would I take your shoes and whatnot? So it's a back and forth between them, and then Akona says, Ingati awiyoyanga a reputation.
You must not like your reputation.
Yeah, and then this one now reputation. So that's where as a status is coming from.
So uzocela uxolo ngoba kutheni ugeliswa ke ngoku?
Because kaloku it was proven. Now there is into yoba Nance, this was kuthiwa into land
a ploy
in between. You know what I mean? And now ivele ke ngoku pha. Wrong. So what she writes, and
that pissed everyone off.
She's not apologizing to do. She even went on to change her name. And then the guy said she's taking this to court. So that is why I am afraid of that thing.
Yeah.
But also with the celebrity culture, you have people who are in positions who are faces of Indawes Tile. Because you're on TV, because you are on radio, on a national radio station, or you are popping as an artist, you then believe that because you went platinum,
you can get any girl
that's around. I understand. So everyone is going to be vulnerable.
There's just a thin line between these experiences, and I'm always asking myself, how wise is it for us to quickly comment on those, whether we believe, because Goko, I believe culture, whether we believe or we do not believe. How wise is it for us to make commentary on it, to say, you know what, I know what I know, and I believe so and so. Indo ingeka test or a court.
For me, as you support someone, you unbelieve you support them. How? If they're gonna take this and put it on social media, there's no court of law on social media. Most of the times when we put stuff on social media, it is not us seeking justice. It is us wanting to tarnish image, all right?
It borders on that thin line, defamation of character, and leading to a point where you're costing opportunities. Who
was the SABC3 guy? The SABC3 guy, the cheating, whatnot. He lost the gig, but they brought him back again.
Yeah, listen to Story Sikatol Esmo, and how he portrays himself as a person who went really depressed, lost a number of contracts, wanted to commit suicide, was scared to go out, only to get to court and discover that actually it wasn't him, but the dark aura that raped.
And I am I shouldn't let dark aura.
Did you get what I'm saying? And the thing is, Geshem, abantu, we're sensitive with what truth we want to hold on to. And I like what Tol Esmo, because Tol Esmo waited until the case was no longer sub judice. The case was resolved. He was proven to have not raped this person. And then he spoke out. He had to nyamezela for so many years, but the case might degrade. But eventually, listen, it's done now, and this is what's up, and I'm going to get what's mine at the end of the day. But because people are so stuck on whatever truth or version of the truth they want to hold on to, you still get people saying, I still believe. So that image is tarnished forever. Because Batini, I still believe. Jonga Siva Linjani Christmas last year. It was another story.
Lonwabo and the girl.
Yes.
And for me, what I found was, this is the first time I hear about this thing, right? And then it's written in Doba. Artists.
These are the responding. Yeah.
Gandoni. Because I don't know this thing. Yabo. Into qala mna masihlale phansi wena baba. Kwenzeka ntoni? Let's talk. I understand what happened. Qalephi lento. What was the relationship? Ize njani lento uba ngabana mayizide izofikelela kule. Sile ecourt. Because awungenwa ngemali police station. But it's not like I bengenayo imali ungena police station. You can go to a police station. Okay, now ufuna uthetha uzama.
Yeah, we're gonna.
You can come through. Do we have a third mic? Uzawuvakala uzama xa thetha pha. Okay.
I have a question. Because you're talking about the police station, police station, and earlier you guys were talking about how going to social media versus going to report, and that there are other borders on defamation of character and basically looking for clout or support and stuff, right? But can you guys talk about the I want to say the correlation between the court of law that is social media. I'm gonna call it that.
We cannot call social media a court of law.
But I'm saying in the sense
we can call it a social call.
Acting, right? That's how people are acting on social media because they come through with their opinions, and those opinions they stand by them, right? And they believe this one did this one didn't do that, right? But also the way these cases are handled. And this is something that has been spoken about by most people that have gone to report, especially rape cases, how they are, I want to say not even considered, like the things that they have to go through when they do go to a police station to report, the questions that are asked, and the way that the cases are being handled to a point where most of them end up not even going to court. And so people resort to social media where they're going to get people that are going to say something because they're not going to go and investigate or whatever. So I want you guys to kind of look at the social media and how it is dealt with. Never mind Tolismo J in general, how rape is handled in the actual court of law. And how most times it works against the victim because there's not a lot you can do to prove that you've been raped if you went and took a shower and didn't go to the clinic and then maybe reported it 3 days later. Do you understand what I'm saying? In such situations. And in most situations, it's like that. Not a lot of people are able to get up and be like, okay, now I was raped and then I'm just going to go to, they take some time or they wait for advice from someone. And so then all of those things make it difficult to prove whether what they're saying is true or not true. Which is where I think most people then take it to social media
We will then have to look at the system in its entirety because I think in both ends we're saying the same thing from a perceived victim, which is female, oti urejuwe, and the guy ekuthiwa urapile abe engarapanga. You understand? I think in both instances, with how our system is designed, it is bound to victimize one or the other, if we understand. The fact that we had penetrated each other does not mean it was a rape. You understand? The fact that ungakhange uye this year or this month or just after you were raped does not mean you were not raped.
Exactly. I think I think what my worry is, if you heard me, I said I'm concerned when these claims are made publicly and at times publicly prematurely.
Yes.
Because perhaps if you were to make that claim having laid a case, it would be a different situation altogether, because then we can respect the turning of the wheel of umthetho, right? And wait on it. Singaphusheli umuntu to go and lay a case, because ngaske siqale siyazi ba we lay a case, then we move siyathetha. But I'm not saying that should be done that way. Where my concern is that we like Zamani is saying now, never mind the case Katole small. But if we don't mind that case, we're saying we don't want to look at both sides. Did you understand me? We have to mind the case, especially when we know of men who are coming out of prison after having been arrested and sentenced to rape, but it turned out to be false. We know of such characters. Did you get what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we must realize that the issue of rape is a human issue. It's an issue that affects an entire community, and how men versus women are being treated. And I mean, I'm probably going to get a lot of stones thrown at me because I'm a woman and I'm speaking this way.
You're a rape apologist.
I'm not a rape apologist because I am a rape survivor. So I don't want to take it as if it's a light issue. But the issue here is this. If we speak on rape, right, and we don't look at the gravity of the crime, we might miss the point where young girls aim for young men, sleep with them, cry foul the next day when they feel bad, and successfully win a case, only for it to be disproven later. We don't understand the impact that has not only on that young man, but on the family.
This guy goes to prison, gets raped there,
and also,
and then you come 5 years later and say,
the emptiness of our law when it comes to a false claim of rape is frustrating people like myself. Because if we were to be able to say the one who lays a false rape claim, opens a case, takes it to court, is proven to be lying, must be sentenced according to how that perceived rapist would have been sentenced. It would be better, because it would lead to courts no longer probing that seems to be insensitive. The reason there's this high insensitivity on the victim is because people lie, Zamani. Did you understand me? They don't tell the truth because the system is such that the victim.
And understandably, because like we have a long history and tradition in patriarchy.
Yes.
And women being shut off and all these things.
But we talk where people are having a conversation and we're talking concept rape culture. And this young lady then talks about even how make-up sex between a couple can be tantamount to rape. Because of the nature of it. It's rough, it's this, it's that. And it's scary when you speak of such, because you find that other young girls are being pushed to go lay these claims and whatnot because rape. Facts. We then turn around and say this girl is a liar. Ondoni. We must be very careful of that.
We need forms. No, you need to have a form and be like, okay, now we're gonna get into this session.
Yes, I mean, I find it tough, especially for men, because sex culture,
we can't be spontaneous anymore.
Sex culture is fluid. Sex culture is fluid, but the fluidity of sex culture is not favorable for men. Men cannot be fluid about sex. Only females can be fluid about sex until they don't want to be fluid anymore.
Look, guys,
I don't know. Sex, and celebrity culture. This is a whole other topic now.
No, the thing is, we go where topics go. Look, with sex, I always say this. With sex is always dictated by women. I can't imagine just like, no, they tell them none and the teen and whatnot. If sex is not welcomed by a woman, it changes the form. It starts with an R. it's called rape.
Yeah.
Even though initiated if you feel angle later on, I think it's a laptop.
Okay.
If it's going to be called rape, and then it changes the narrative.
Yeah. And I think, the other difficult thing in the conversation about rape and other forms of gender-based violence is how it is almost a conversation exclusively for women. We cannot let men come in on the conversation. And I'm glad now we're talking like this, because for the most part, we don't really want men to partake in the conversation.
Yeah, that's why
and that's when I feel like we will never get to a resolve.
I never talk about
saying?
It on social media, because
you can't.
Text can always be
you can't, because who are you? I mean, I don't dare talk about it as well, because I also understand that my mission in my life is for the building of love, black love, in the black family system, in the black community. So I can never have a conversation that seeks to discredit, but rather a conversation that seeks to resolve. I'm not a trashist. I will not say men are trash, because I want to honor the men who have loved me. Do you know what I'm saying? I want to give grace to them. But also, I don't want to shut out the man who has abused. Yes. I don't want to shut him out, because I want his story. I want him to stand and say, Dan ken ambetu mama, or Dan ken abanjela attempted rape, or Dan ken da rape, and these were the things that led me to it, and not as if to justify, and it's not to justify himself, but rather to say, I want to teach so that others don't do it. But the scary thing for me is that the moment a man speaks about his experiences of aggression and how he possibly overcame or was arrested and sentenced and we are quick to cancel his voice. For me, that is not a progressive conversation. That is not conversations that seeks to find a resolve. That is a conversation that is comfortable with us always being the perpetual victims and survivors and trashists and mnandi conversation 80. We women want to find a resolve to this thing, and a conversation that say we men want to find a resolve to this thing, so that at the end of the day, we are okay with who we are as a black community and not be standing there. There's a serious gender war.
It's
gender. And at no point are we finding some form of synergy between the two genders. And I think
the rift is black.
Yeah.
Must look at it. It's black. Not all nations.
And it's black
fighting
over a Western school of thought.
Yeah, it's not like all people fighting. It's black people against black people. Young, old.
It's almost like we couldn't divide them along racial lines. Let's now divide them along the gender lines. Now that Baba Nale freedom, but now that Baba, they've got the ruling party in inverted commas, now that they've got all these things, now that they can come into our schools, now that they can have an opportunity to be a nuclear family with mom, dad, and 2 kids, let's just divide mom and dad.
We should check out the Berlin conference. Just if you would type on Google, you type the Berlin conference. Of the 1800s. So this was a Berlin conference where slave traders came together, and then there was a plan that was laid down to say this would endure for 300 years. The making of a slave, how you make a slave, and how you impart knowledge that will divide the young versus the old, and the blacker ones, the darker ones, the ones like us, the indigo ones, and those, the pathology ones, the light-skinned, the light-skinned ones. So you must separate also the genders. You must also humiliate the man in front of the wife. I
remember that.
So that they can see, Willie Lynch. So that they can see that their father cannot be the head or the compass of the home, because now the white masters, we're going deep. We're talking about celebrity culture.
We're talking celebrity culture, and
I'm thinking also what that is going to bring, the celebrity culture, the high life. the high life is always aided by powders. Yeah, people love to sniff powders when they are celebrities, right? The drugs are gonna come.
Yeah.
The drugs are gonna come. And I think only the few are going to be able to withstand that thing. So with the talent that we've seen, if the people that are there now, who we'll call them the pioneers, because this is a second film that is shot in PE.
Is it?
Yeah.
What's the first one?
There was another one. I don't know whether it was a musical or something, because I remember when I was still in high school, and we were excited that there's a chick, AIE says a drama part that was going to be part of it. Yeah, but then Kunaba.
And yes.
You're turning 41.
Kuchaba.
So,
Ben 10.
What was this? I think it had something to do with politics and whatnot. But still London.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was also a musical type of a thing. Yeah, it's the second one. There was one in the late 90s.
Okay.
So this is the second one. So these ones, they are in the forefront, pioneering age. And you pray and hope that all of them are going to be kept. They'll be able to go to other productions, grow, and eventually become or occupy other spaces within the set, either by becoming writers or becoming many other, things set. But then the drugs, after the claims as Zabakhona, Zaman kangabuye nemali yami. Because now Zaman has a name, because he has and anzobe nisithi Zamani manje isongo ngizambiza ngela gama abizwa ngalo
eTVini.
Yabo ubani wenu lo pha eTVini ke
Kwenza oko noko.
Andimboleke i20 khayibuyisi nangoku unyaka wesine. It's like le way inenyanga isenzeka. Uyabo, so there's gonna be
yazi njengibuthetha le way ondicingisa a line that Umsaki kept saying, go podcast with McG. They keep saying it comes with the territory. They keep saying it comes with the territory.
Yeah.
And I'm not too sure if that's what I signed up for.
New level, new
and therefore I don't want the territory then.
What's the story there? Do you know the story there?
I mean, I have not completed the entire podcast in segments because it's been quite busy. Yeah. But where I am right now is her saying she's taking a hiatus for a year, just stepping away from the music scene, from performances and just to be a regular person, to be a regular soccer mom. She refers to it as that, because she's really hurt by the whole culture currently. I think there was that thing Smash, yeah. And also there's been other reports on Klambakakwa's performer, whatever the case may be. But she's just in a hurt space right now, and she doesn't want to be part of this thing that she loves so much, because this is not how she pictured it. She understands herself to be more of a music or songwriter than a performer. And so I think she just wants to, because she even mentioned to go to performance yona mali yakhe incinci. Because his dreams of income anazo. Performance is the lowest stream of income anayo. So might it be worth it for her to sacrifice herself, her family life, her everything for us, only for the Nkwatina Sijikesi, because now she's wearing this title of home wrecker, and she seems to indicate that there's a lot we don't know about that situation, but she did not wreck a home. Do you know what I mean? But ke uzalithini ibali labantu if umuntu befuna ukuthetha omnye and
I mean funny kukho umuntu ozaba nedata after 2 weeks and is gonna see as a story that was trending 2 weeks ago. Asiqale phansi nepavi yakhe
yaphela lando yebholo elast 7 days ngoku, because that thing has it's an entire season online ikhona. It ends when it ends, if it ever does.
But it's sad, because Umsaki represents a certain segment. It's been a minute since we got someone like Umsaki in the industry, in the mainstream particularly. Because you must remember the people that we're still holding on to, people like King Tar. We knew King Tar. We what's this group here about Palawa, but I think after she was signed by Usipho, Gqeberha, Dr. Sipho Stole. That's when we really got to,
experience the artist.
And then it was closely related to a release of music from Uzama Jobe. And then you had Simpiwe Dana. That was like around 2004 and so forth. And the texture there was just something else. And then from Ella Klesha, after Uspokas, Spokas Magwini and whatnot, there's no other artist that had texture that really, stuck in the industry where you're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Ubani came through because those Zonge and Ubani, that's the same generation. So Umsaki represented this, new wave of the artists with that texture, still continuing. So for me to hear Indoba, she's deciding to just give it all away.
No, I mean, she didn't say that she's giving it all away, but she's saying she needs to think carefully about her next move. And this year...
Digital streaming, maybe.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe and it's okay to always just take,
a break.
Step back a bit, find yourself. And also the thing is, if you are making good money, you can afford a hiatus.
Yes.
You can afford to just take a breather and focus on other things. And it doesn't seem like she's going to be sleeping. She's talking about a lot of things that should be happening abroad. And I like how she's always maintained freedom. Umsaki, man, on interviews, you don't feel a departure from the Msaki that you know.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Usengla Msaki, ukatalayo, ungakataliyo, or
that's been a thing about her.
She cares, but she doesn't give a damn. Upilu bombake really, and she's just trying to be a good person for herself and for her immediate surroundings. So I feel like she can afford it and she needs it because honestly, if you've ever met Umsaki, you also know that she's not the kind of person that should be out here trying to prove herself right or wrong. She's a very focused artist. She really respects her craft. And that's what she's about. And she does mention that people got excited. And perfect way. Why must you be perfect? I mean, it's the same thing I was saying about the whole gatekeeping thing. There are people we must go bow down to the application and say, listen, the application go. So that I'm not to get what I'm saying. So is this that at the end of the day, we don't deserve that as a people. I don't think she does, not with the way she's been carrying a flag for so many things. She's not only carrying an Eastern Cape flag, she's carrying a South African flag because she's international in her engagements, in her approach to her craft. She's international. So I think let's let her rest.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy because you feel like in Ngati, there are people online, firstly, who feel they're relevant if they don't use amagama abanye abantu. It's like you have publication and media houses who fail without controversies. They one sell, the paper. Using igama lomntu ngendlela and twisting facts.
Yeah.
And then you report and you say it's alleged. It's claimed.
Yes.
You did not say it, but and then because we are protected by the law of we need to protect our sources. We can be able to do this thing even when there are no sources.
Yeah.
But it's like economy, it's survival. Yes, media
tabloid economy.
It's a tabloid economy. For it to thrive, funeke sisebenzise amagama abantu.
Yeah.
And, the podcast space and all the spaces as corner, it gives us a chance where we are able, first and foremost.
And for people to tell their own stories.
Tell our own stories from where we come from. Because you look throughout the broadcast already, TV and whatnot, if it's not about parties, the topics are going to be about this chal.
Yeah.
Because those are quicker ones. In many telenovelas and whatnot, that must be a controversy that has relationships.
Abantu bayalithanda ipolo.
Upolo yang bacimba unanseka lo street fighter lo.
Abantu bayalithanda ipolo, man. They can't do without, and also you can never get them out of what they believe. You must just keep walking. So now, Nyani, I say, Umsaki has a lot going for her. She's got kids. She's got a family.
I root for her.
Yeah,
man. And
Nyani, I think.
Shout out to Umsaki. And, yo, sis, you must know that you're a gem. We're proud to have you as a representative of the province, the representative of the country. What you do is amazing. And she's been amazing from the jump.
She's worked really hard.
People right now are experiencing her in Goku. But
she was my backing vocalist.
She opened up for me.
We went to Sweden together.
Oh, nice.
And so we worked with musicians from that side.
Okay.
And so I had one song, I need to back up, and she did that for me. And I remember her as I'm performing, because I think it was 2015. So as I'm performing, she comes to me and she says, yo, there are people here and they've got the South African flag and they're waving your CD, man. I'm like, yes. I gave her so much energy to know that there were people. So I the sweetness of her was that she did not want me to miss that there were people who were there for me, who were there to say, Nansi City, and we're waving a flag for you guys. So it was really nice. So yeah.
That's special. Good Caesar, and sometimes you have great artists in different pockets of the country. When the country experiences them for the first time, it's like, this is something new. To us, people who've been watching and following the development of that artist, we're like, finally, you got the spotlight that you deserve. And I feel that's what happened to Unanseka Umsaki as a person.
And I think generally, can we not hurt people? Or we can't avoid it because hurt people. But can we not hurt people who are just doing life, who are just working really hard to make it for their kids, to give them a better life, to create better family structures, for themselves? Can we not try so hard to hurt? If you're realizing, because update, I think it was after Ebo Belen. I don't know what he had said about him. We fridge stage or something like that. But can we try not to? I think
2023 is a great year for us to stop being asses.
Yeah, man.
It's a great year to just stop being, bullying people on the internet. It's a great year that if we have knowledge and stuff like that, we use it to enrich us instead of siyisebenzise for another black child. I think it's a great year for us to be able to share opportunities as a corner. It's a great year for us to collaborate.
Yes.
And use the resources.
And it's a great year for us to call each other. And not, it's in Lando on the side note, take Facebook. Don't do that, please. Yeah. Call me, ask the relevant people for my number, but I reckon my number, if I ask somebody else, call me, tell me that, sister, do you know what I mean? It's easier.
Don't jump on rumors.
It's easier. Also, man, Yakim, it's not just us who are in the space. It's our audience that's in the space. Yes. We don't have to like each other, but we don't have to let them know that we don't like each other. Because also the moment we show how divided we are, the forces that are coming from outside, these production companies that are coming in here, they will take advantage of that shit. They're not going to let us go. They are going to exploit because we're showing them our weak points.
Yes.
I don't know, I've always functioned from the notion of a family home. Everything that I do, if sebenza ngolo hlobo, I'm never in a space where I'm not in family. Do you get what I'm saying? When I'm here, I'm regarding it as I'm with family. And so nakulena indawo sikuyo kuzaba khumama kuzaba kutata kuzaba khumalume kuzaba ku-auntie kuzaba khondoni, and we will treat each other with that kind of respect. So when we broaden it up to saying the industry as a Gqeberha, we have to understand that masidlaleni roles zethu. Do you get what I'm saying? And at some point, even a family that doesn't get along, because
at the end of the day,
sort it out.
we're family.
Yeah. So if we function from that, we'll be okay.
At the end of the day, we're family. Stick with us. We're going to continue with these conversations. We're going to come through again. I want you to become part of the family. So stick with us. We're going to keep on doing this thing.
Building a family.
And thank you very much for sticking with us. I hope you enjoyed the conversation.
Are you the dad?
Yes.